Ecamm fam. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where in the world you are watching from. We are back in the Amesbury studio again for another edition of Meet the Ecamm fam. And if I have not met you yet, hi, I'm Katie Fox. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Ecamm. And this series is the show where I get to chat with some of the incredible creators, live streamers, podcasters, video enthusiasts, and business owners who are using Ecamm to power their video. And it's so fun to be back in front of the camera. I feel like over the last few weeks, I've been doing more and more live streams and podcasts and shows. It's always a great opportunity for me to test everything out and push all the buttons. And if you were with us last week, everything went wrong. So hopefully things are going well so far, but definitely let me know. I see Paul is hanging out with us in the comments. I see Mr. Al Jennings, who is here supporting Carla today, which is incredible. He loves today's guest. I would hope so. I hope so. Awesome. Well, if you have any questions throughout this show, you can always drop them in the comments. If you put a Q: in front of them, it's a little bit easier for me to find, but usually the live crew is a little bit smaller, so I'm more than happy to search through and hopefully I won't miss anything. Hey, George, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Should be a really fun show, and I'm always excited to chat with different faces. So without further ado, let's bring on Carla. Hi, Carla.
Hey, Katie. Thank you for having me today.
Oh my gosh, we were talking behind the scenes about we're going to see each other in real life so soon at Creator Camp.
Yeah.
So this is like our pre-chat before we get to hang out in real life.
Right. Oh, it'll be my first Ecamm event. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. And if you are watching out there live or on replay later, and you're like, wait a sec, there's an Ecamm event. There is. You can jump in and learn more and grab your tickets today. Ecamm.tv/creatorcamp. There's only, I think, 23 spaces left, so it's selling out really quickly. So definitely jump on and hang out with Carla and I in real life in October. Well, let's jump in. I would love to know a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you have been doing it for.
Okay, so I am a fitness instructor. I do one-on-one personal training, and I also do small groups, not just fitness, but I am also a certified yoga instructor. So I offer yoga as well. I also go out into the community and my business is called Fit for You. So Fit for You goes out and take my services to organizations such as youth centers. There's an organization called Easter Seal. So I worked with adults that were special needs adults. So just doing different things like that. And also I'm part of a nonprofit organization called the Three Rivers Yoga Foundation that I participate in taking yoga out into the community in that way. So, awesome. In the studio, and it is so exciting. And so in the studio, I have small groups in, like I said, one-on-ones, and then I Zoom for those that are out of town or for locals that aren't happy about coming up 3 flights of stairs. Or
I feel that. I feel that for sure.
So, I have a T-shirt that says "We do stairs," and
that's
it's
incredible.
48 steps. Yeah, it's 48 steps, and it's part of the warm up. So it's pretty cool. But I'm in an old historical building. It's a brick building. And it has a great view of our downtown area overlook, and so it's a great spot.
Wow,
and,
you and I are in probably almost exactly the same kind of spaces. So here in Amesbury,
right?
we also have all of the stairs. I've never counted them. We do have an elevator, but we try to take the stairs all the way up, and then this space used to be a yoga studio, so we have also kind of a big open space.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's really so inviting, and it makes the stair climbing worth it, I think. Yeah. So I've been doing fitness for over 16 years. I started out at the YMCA teaching group fitness, just circuit classes, and just was really interested in doing more one-on-ones. And actually, my husband was teaching a class, how I really got into fitness at the very beginning. He was teaching a seminar called Dreams to Reality. And one of the questions were, what would you do for free? What is it that you would do and not want to get paid? Something of that nature was
Oh,
how it
wow.
was worded. And immediately it was like fitness just popped in, into my head, which I know and sure it was already in my heart. I come from a background of sports, and I have a dance background. And so, I've always enjoyed being active. And so as a result of that, I was able to tap into what I believe was already in me.
Hmm.
And so it just grew from there, and it just continues to grow. And so I love what I do, and I mainly service women.
Hmm.
And however, I'll do couples, like train couples or do couples yoga, something of that nature. But for the most part, my business is geared toward women.
That's awesome. And so, how did you first approach the idea of adding video in? Was it a result of the pandemic or was it something that you were doing previously?
So yeah, it did. It started from the pandemic, and we, of course, Al was already doing what he was doing in the setup, and so it made it easy for me to like not even miss a beat. And so, of course, I don't remember all the tools that he had me get, but the tools that I needed, we were able to get those, and just, kept things rolling. And so as a result of that, I just continued with it, and it opened up other opportunities for me. The Easter seal business that I mentioned, because of the COVID scenario, I couldn't go into their facilities,
Yeah.
but I can continue to service them from by way of Zooming, and so that was a great thing.
Yeah, I think that's really a smart approach, and it's nice to see that it's still something that you're keeping up, and you found like a really great space for it. So, there's certainly people out there that, would prefer to be in their homes, or, or just couldn't, can't make those stairs, or they're coming in from a distance, so they're not in the same city as you. So I think it's really neat what people in the fitness space have done, blending together an in-person experience with video.
Yeah, I love the idea, because my one of my concepts and thoughts is, um, do you, like, whatever you're capable or able to do
Yeah.
that, and don't compare your health journey or your health and wellness journey to someone else. And
Hmm.
if working out at home best suits you or works best for you, then do what fits you. And so with that, like, I have uh, a thing where I call it a furniture workout. Like, everybody, for the most part, if you have an apartment or some sort of home, for the most part, there may be some people that maybe are building their furniture and don't have it yet, but you have a wall, and you can do a lot from the wall. You can do a lot from a chair. You can do a
Hmm.
lot from a couch. And so, I really believe that your home can be your gym.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. And how do you approach, and maybe Al helps you with a lot of this because I know how it is to have a sidekick able to help with some of the tech stuff, but thinking through like how to set up your space to make it as accessible as possible for people who are viewing through video. Are you doing those sessions separate from when you have people in the space with you, or is it all at the same time and you're recording it? How are you kind of approaching that split?
Great question. It's during the sessions. So I use Calendly, and so the clients schedule according to the times that's on each day.
Perfect.
And because I know who's coming in and who's zooming, um, I'll just set up the camera so that that individual or individuals will be dialed in with us when we start.
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. I'm looking over at the the comments. It sounds like Easter seals has been a huge lifesaver for a few people in the comments. So it's so great to hear. I love it. I love an autism dad. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not then probably the level of like interaction because you are. I mean, not that there's not a level of interaction, but it's a different kind of vibe because you are physically going through, yoga and the fitness and the work that you're doing. So you're not really as able to do things like interact with comments. Do you have like a monitor up behind you so you can see if someone is asking questions or I don't know, having an issue, I guess. I guess people don't ask a ton of questions when they're doing fitness, but do you have like a display so you can see people participating?
Yeah, I can. So I have my monitor, and so because I'm mic'd up, the only time I ask them to mute is for the when we're, um, working out in a way that we're, well, more so with yoga because you want that to be as a quiet place, right? For the
Yep.
most part, but it's okay if they leave their mics on during a workout session,
Yeah.
unless they know that their home is going to be noisy. So then I ask if they would mute, so they can hear me, and then I can hear them when they ask a question. And because it's a small group, so I typically there's anywhere from 2 to 10 or 2 to 6. It just depends on that particular day.
Yeah.
Some days are more busier than others. So sometimes it's just one person may schedule for a small group, and they'll get a one-on-one,
That's
even
awesome.
though that they're not signed up as a one-on-one. But so that can happen. That can happen by way of a Zoom session as well as a in the studio session as well. So, but definitely I interact to make sure that the people that are Zooming feel like that they're in the class.
Oh, that's so fun. I was just thinking I'd have to mute my mic. I'd be like
No, I do.
holding
I
my.
do ask them to do that if they're having, But I want to see them. I have to see them. I don't
Yeah.
want you to black your camera out. I got to see you.
Yeah, that's one of the really neat things about Zoom that doesn't exist in a live streaming environment is the ability to see the grid of people and to be able to really interact. We were talking the other day about um, in the podcasting space how nice it is to be able to see people.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's really it's necessary because form is so important. And even though that they're at home, I want them to know that they can't just get away with anything. And not that they're trying to get away, but I'm interested in their well-being overall. And so I want to see your form. I don't just want to see your upper body. I need to see your legs when we're doing squats and lunges. And so that's really important. Even though Zooming to work out isn't the ultimate best, but I would say it's the next because there, we're able to interact. I'm able to communicate and see them, but I like hands-on. I like being in the midst. And then when there are times though that I'll do video, and I'll do a video for them, like if I'm going to be out of the studio. Currently, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have um, other instructors, so there are times that I have several videos available, and so I try to be as instructive as I can, and to make sure that they are being conscious to their forms. So if they've been with me long enough, or any length of time, they I repeat myself often about their breath, about
Mm-hmm.
being in alignment and things like that. So some of them may say, I wake up hearing your voice. And I was like, good. That's what I want to hear.
That's the hardest part about all of that is the remembering to breathe. It seems so obvious, but I've been doing yoga for years and I'm always like, oh, right. I need to remember to control my breath. I need to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
It's certainly the hardest part. Have you,
Yeah,
have
it's
you done
easy.
any like, soundproofing or updates to your studio space? It's kind of interesting because you obviously need your studio to be in a particular way, in a particular format for people that are coming in person, but you want to be able to have those aspects of kind of, those pieces of tech to be able to build out that virtual studio. How do you kind of balance that so it doesn't feel like too techy for the people that are there in person, but enough kind of resources to be able to support your viewers who are coming in virtually?
Okay, so if I understood your question right, so with what's available, am I adding new things to the virtual or the virtual experience? Is that what you're asking, Katie?
Yeah, more like how does your space look? So as you know, people are coming in person into your studio space. How are you managing making sure it's not too like there's not too much equipment and gear related to what you're doing on the virtual side? How are you balancing your physical space?
Gotcha. Okay, so basically I wish I could show you guys, but I probably could
Okay.
if I could turn the camera around. Do you want me to turn the camera
Sure,
around?
yeah, let's play around. What's the worst that could happen, right?
All right. So
Well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to say congratulations. We have both Tatiana and Dan hanging out with us in the chat. Tatiana missed the Q&A yesterday, but you did win a gold mug, so definitely email. You're one of our Ecamm award winners. I know you're on a roll with winning winning all the things. And it looks like we have quite an awesome group hanging out in the chat. Let us know if there's any questions that are coming through for Carla. Look at this space.
okay, so yeah,
Beautiful.
this is my space, and I have a good amount of things that I have here without like making it, cluttering it. I use the beam. I use these for my resistant bands, and
Cool.
they can work their arms and legs. I use the brick wall. I can use hard or the heavy medicine balls because I can't break anything or destroy anything. So I love that. Um, the
I see your big display there. That's great to be able to have that visual. So it's nice that the participants physically in the space can also see the virtual participants. It feels much more inclusive.
Yeah, and what happens a lot of time too is like the people that are virtual, especially if they are here in town, when they are feeling and sensing that energy it really encourages them to come in. And so and I love that. So and then these bands right here, I don't know if you can see them, they're hanging from the side. So I'm gonna grab a stick. So they are used for arms and legs. These are some resistant bands.
We're going to make you hustle for it today. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're really cool for arms and legs. And so we get to do stuff like this.
Ah, it's so fun.
And then even stuff like this. So they're like my bungee cords.
Oh my goodness. The fact that you are not like out of breath into your mic, is that hard? Like being able to, I mean, obviously you're significantly more in shape than I am, but dealing with like having a lav mic on and the flexibility of being able to move around, how much does it pick up? Like, does it pick up when you're out of breath? Does it pick up all of that sound?
So yeah, they hear me really well. And
that's awesome.
So yeah, and in fact, there are times that I went, so because I'm on the third floor, there's only 2 sets of bathrooms in the building. So I have to go down to use the restroom. And so I forgot to take my mic off.
Oh, no, been there. Yep.
So they hurt me very well. So.
Oh yeah, those are challenges that many of us, I think, don't really think through because, a lot of us are just in like a permanent studio space, either standing or sitting, but we don't have kind of some of the challenges that go with having to have that flexibility of moving around. We're making Al nervous with moving the camera. I'm sorry, Al. I didn't mean to make you nervous with moving the camera.
I'm going to turn it back around. Yeah, so it serves me well. And so then I have like a sitting area over there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
I have a little hammock. One of our daughters that works near downtown, she comes at lunch break sometimes and takes a nap. So
I love it. What a fun, like, welcoming space. You have such a large space and it's so like well laid out. Yeah.
my little kitchen area and my tulips that are dying from Mother's Day. But
Oh, yeah, I feel
um,
that.
we're
Paul's saying
living.
that he remembers a church service where the pastor didn't mute his mic in the bathroom. It's something that you don't like. Again, it's you don't think about some of those things when you are using
Yeah,
different kinds of gear and equipment. So many of us don't come from a background where we have that, like where we're using those kinds of microphones often. So it's not something that
yeah.
is kind of top of mind. Al says you have no idea what kind of camera you're using. We should test you on on what the gear is and see what you can
No,
answer.
I could not tell you much of any of the names, so I would flunk that test for
That's
sure.
okay. That's okay. I actually think that's kind of it. It's nice for people to see, and I love that in this show we talk to all different kinds of users because a lot of the times, especially in the Ecamm community, there's all of our incredible people who are super gear geeks and they have these like epic huge studios, but there are so many different kinds of ways that you can produce video. So it's always I love like talking to comedians and musicians and teachers and fitness because I think that those are different ways that you can use video and live streaming, and it is a very different experience. If you put like a Doc Rock in your studio space, it would take him a
Yeah,
while to be like, wait a sec, like where do you have to think through like where you want the camera, how you want to have a
right.
display, like what. So yeah, I think it's an interesting challenge. How long did it take you to think through like what you wanted in this space, how to think through the experience, I guess, of mixing video and in-person events together?
Okay, so I knew where I wanted the monitor to be mounted
Mhm.
and the screen to be mounted. We just Al helped with that and a great deal. Like we had to talk it through and figure it out, and see where I would be moving and what kind of camera would give me the zoom
Yeah.
that I needed. And so, yeah, so he was the brain in all that for sure. I just knew what I wanted it to look like, and that was my thing.
Have you ever played around with? So we just got one in the studio the other day. Of course, I don't have it here. I brought it home to play with, but we have one of those Insta 360 link cameras, so it actually like has tracking capability. Have you ever played with one of the cameras where it moves while you move, so that you don't have to mess with it too much? It looks like you have a stationary camera, right?
Yeah, so going back to COVID, I haven't tried the latest. We were just watching someone, and Al can tell you who it was, that they were talking about the new camera
Yeah.
that does that.
Yeah.
But we were when COVID or the pandemic hit,
Mhm.
we had one of those um, devices that did that, and
Yeah.
so that worked out really well. But it wasn't what is new today.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's always updates coming in the field. Oh,
Yeah, for
Tatiana has a,
sure.
a great question for you. Tatiana wants to know where your motivation to exercise comes from when the cameras are off and it's just you and maybe Al. Yeah. How do you keep motivated?
Oh, that's such a great question. Well,
Yeah.
I tell you, I actually, maybe I'm one of the few, but I think that I would think most trainers are. Like, I love working out, and so I work out 5 days a week. I'm off on
Awesome.
at least 4 days. I'm off on Wednesdays. I rest my body on Wednesdays, and so I typically am at. I have a Y membership because I don't have the heavy equipment here
Oh, good
that the
point.
Y
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
So I go to the Y Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Fridays, I either do running or walking on the treadmill. And I'm doing something on Saturday. It may not be fitness related, but it may not be gym related, but it's
Sure.
something fitness. And so, and I challenge myself often. Like right now, I'm in it's for the St. Jude Children's Hospital
Yeah.
push-up challenge. And so
Oh,
it's
wow.
3,000 push-ups for the month of May. And so every day it's 100 push-ups. So I'm on day 16. So, or 17. Today's the 17th, right? So I still have to do my push-ups for today, and I'll be at 1,700 push-ups. So
Oh my
that,
goodness. That's
so
incredible.
I just try to do things that I would not expect my clients to do, but be out in front of them so that I can say, hey, you can do it. And this is how. And there's always modifications for everything. Like, even that's why I said a chair. A person can get fit in a chair.
Yep.
It's just different ways that you can do different things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think motivation is such a hard, it's like the key thing that is part of all of this. And it's funny how it's different for so many of us. So some people like you are really self-motivated, and then there's, others. I've been doing, there's an app that a friend of mine turned me on to called the Conqueror. I think it's just called Conqueror app or Conqueror Challenge, something like that. And it's like virtual races. So it's like my friends and I, and whoever knows how many other people across the world, you can sign up for virtual races that have a particular amount of mileage. And then I just use my smart watch, and like my Apple Watch tracks like how much mileage I do in a day. So it's like, as I see myself getting closer to like the little checkpoints in the race, I'm like, oh, I've got to add an extra mile today. I need to go for a walk, or I need to. So it's interesting, like it's an interesting practice thinking through what motivates you and like what are the things that keep you going. The chat is cracking me up. Lots of people liking your exposed brick and your background. Paul's saying 1,700 sit-ups. He would be 77 by the time he did that many.
What did you say that again, Katie?
Paul said 1,700 sit-ups. He would be 77 by the time that he did that many.
Well, maybe push-ups. So push-ups, not sit-ups, push-ups.
Push-ups, yeah. Push-ups are hard. Push-ups are hard.
But he would be 77. Wow.
Yeah. And Hank does one sit-up a day. He gets up in the morning, that's half, and then he lays back down at night. That's the other half. Yeah, that's about what I'm at for sit-ups. I'm pretty good for walking.
You're doing something. Yeah. So there you go.
I am. I'm challenging myself with my digital races. That's as far as I'm getting right now. But the weather is nicer, so that definitely helps as a motivator as well, for sure.
Yeah. And that's what's cool though about fitness. It's different for everybody. And so that's why it's so, because I have ladies, and for the most part, women tend to, sometimes based on society to compare themselves, and even with their workouts, or feel like that they have to be doing what somebody else is doing. But our bodies are also different, and everybody comes to me at a different level. And so I never expect each person to go a whole minute. Like I always say, hey, the clock is set for 30 seconds. Get in what you can get in at 30 seconds. I have some that'll go through the whole 30 seconds, and some may only do 15, pause for a few and come back. And I love that, because I always want them to listen to their body. But then I also tell them, don't punk out. Like, challenge yourself a little. So even if it's like 1 second longer, go forward. And what I find is so funny, when I do countdowns, they may be in 20 seconds in, and I say 10 seconds left, 10, 9, 8. Every single time when I do a countdown, somebody stops before 1. If I don't count down, they finish the whole thing. And so I threaten them every time. I said, I'm going to stop counting down because you guys quit before 1 second. Like, finish that 1 second. So yeah, I don't know. It's just the idea of knowing. I think when people know, sometimes it's not good for them.
Yeah, it's true. It's like watching, waiting for water to boil or watching for the toast to pop, right? If you just walk away for a second, it ends up going way faster than when you're standing there staring at it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So you probably don't then use a lot of, like, especially if you're standing and moving around. Are there other features within Ecamm that you are using, or for the mass majority, it's just to improve camera and audio quality into apps like Zoom?
So I have them available, like what we did. I had Al set me up some scenes. Mm-hmm. So I use my countdown scene to start Zoom.
Yeah.
So I like that feature.
Yeah.
I have some other scenes, I need to get another device so that I don't have to keep going back and forth to click the next scene. So I have my scenes set up. I just need to use them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You need like a Stream Deck or a Stream Pedal or a Loop Deck or even the app on your phone to be able to kind of just easily go back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are handy for sure.
Okay, yeah. And so I would still have to move to get to it, but not, I wouldn't have to use my hands. I can just use the pedal and do it that way. So that's something that we've talked about.
You need like a little assistant on site where you can just like point to someone and they hit next onto the next thing.
Yes.
You need like an elementary school or high school kid that can be a part-time help.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, that would be awesome. You guys in the chat, I'm like cracking up. We're asking if Al's last name isn't Roker, talking about of all the different kinds of push-ups. I love it. Nice job, Carla. Lots of praise coming through. Yeah, you have a really a really welcoming, friendly space, and I love that you're keeping it really intentional with what you are doing. Like it's so easy with video to go like over the top, and we are all guilty to some level of, buying like all the coolest, newest things or, trying to add all the graphics in. And I love that you're really focused on making it really approachable for everyone, whether that's people that are in person or people that are online. I think that it's nice to keep like very simple and very focused on what you're doing so that it makes it just a great experience for everyone.
Yeah, I do. And I also try to be conscious of everybody doesn't want to be videoed. Say, for instance, when I'm in class and because I'm on TikTok and I like to put things there, but for the most part is basically exercises that I've done or are doing. Very rare will I shoot the class and put them on. Because people feel different about it. And so I like to be conscious of that and sensitive to them as well. And but there are some that I know are okay with it. And so I will say, hey, I'm recording a little today. Are you okay with that? Or if someone's in the class, maybe the majority of the class are okay, but there's one or two that's not. I'll make sure that they're not in the shot.
Yeah. So it's a similar challenge that I'm sure that like educators and teachers face as well, where they need to get like release forms for things. We, Ken owns a kids like technology and coding school that's down the hall from us, and we have to be really sensitive about that. Even as we're like recording things right here, kids could be in the hallway, or there could be families nearby, and they may not want to be, on camera or in pictures.
Yeah. I mean, it even goes as far, like there are I do some things for my business as well as for the nonprofit organization that I'm with, for one of the Boys and Girls Club. And so it's important, like some of the kids, their faces cannot be shown. So it's a sensitive thing as well. So it's really we have to be really careful. So I try to just keep it straight across the line, and I don't have to wonder, oh, is this the place or not the place? So then if I do anything, I'm going to shoot back shots or something that's far, far away. But so very, very little is on others. It's mostly things that I'm showing illustrations of.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, I just love it. And congratulations for everything that you're doing. Al says you could care less about the tech. I think there's a magic in that, honestly. I think we can all take some tips on learning to really think through like what your goals are, who your audience is, and what are the best ways to just make it a really incredible experience. So I super appreciate you taking the time to come on and share everything with us today. Is there anything else we didn't cover that you want to share? Anything else that let us know where people can find you? It's all in the description, everyone watching. I hear you're chatting back and forth about where to find Carla. Everything's in the description, but what's the best place to sign up for classes or learn more about what you're up to?
You can go to carlajennings.com and my website there. And if you're interested in taking classes. So one of the things that I'm big on is longevity.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like drop-ins just simply because um, I'm, for the most part,
Yeah, you're
I
building
want to,
relationships.
yeah, and
Yeah.
get people into a routine where they can really get fit for themselves and
Yeah.
not just hit and miss. Now, and I know that people can do. I do have a Wednesdays are drop-ins, and because then that's yoga. But sometimes when people come and drop in during the week with the fitness, I get a little nervous sometimes because I don't know where they're coming from, like as
Mm-hmm.
far as where they are with their health,
Yeah.
and so I like to be more aware, and I've walked with you, to where we've had conversations about your, what's happening with you. So I have a 12-week program
Awesome.
where it's they can come every day, and we do assessments every 4 weeks. We take measurements, and not on from the they. I have a there's a company here called Complete Health, and they have a InBody machine, and it reads everything, not
Oh,
just
wow.
your weight. That's
Yeah.
just a number,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't define what's happening with your body,
Exactly.
and then every 4 weeks, they go again and they get a readout, and they can see where their muscles are growing. They can
Mm-hmm.
see their BMI and all those important numbers. And
Yeah.
so it's amazing how, and then we take pictures and they get to see like things are happening, and they'll come in and say, my clothes are looser, or I'm sleeping better, which sometimes we don't equate
Yeah.
exercising with our rest. And it all plays a part. It all plays a part. And so, and that may be the first thing they see the first 4 weeks, right? So it's
Yep.
not about getting skinny, it's about getting healthy. And so
Absolutely.
I like pushing that and motivating the women in that regard. Like, put yourself on your own schedule. We schedule everything else, but we will
So
not
true.
schedule,
It's
you know,
so
our,
true. Oh my goodness. We've had all these discussions on LinkedIn over the last couple of weeks about I keep getting tagged in posts where it's like, how do you do work-life balance? Or like what are your tips for like promoting better mental health? And yeah, we don't schedule ourselves into our own schedules. We don't. We
yeah.
should. We absolutely need to.
Yeah. So, and then I'll say, be your own best friend. We
Hmm.
tell ourselves or our friends, oh, you should, or you look so good, or you're so great. But we won't tell ourselves, you should, you're so great, you should. So, so that's another T-shirt that they have, like, be your own best friend,
Yeah.
and and do that. And so, yeah, I enjoy knowing that I'm leading women, those who I
Yeah.
do have the opportunity or the blessing to come in contact with, that I want to leave them better. And so I believe that I do a good job in doing that. I'm not a perfect trainer. No, there are no perfect trainers, but I'm pretty amazing. I'm pretty
I
amazing.
love I love that you say that and own that. I think it's so important for us to just like, yeah, thank you. You are absolutely. Before we wrap, Al has a great reminder for me, but I'd love to hear some stories about the effect that yoga has had on kids and adults in your class. I know it's such an important practice. So yeah, can you share a story or two about some of the experiences that you've had?
Yeah. So one in particular I can think of, I just recently talked about. I was at another non-for-profit. This was Fit for You, going there, me
Yeah.
as my business, and it was a after-school program.
Oh,
It was
that's
a
awesome.
local program here, and this particular young man, he was ADHD, and so he was on meds.
Hmm.
And so he was always so busy, like he was
Yeah.
going all over the place. And so I come in for yoga, and quite naturally, that particular day, he was busy self. And even during the whole practice, he was on and off his mat. And, these are, I think, fifth and sixth graders. And he was on and off his mat and just as busy as possible. And this
Hmm.
was his first time doing yoga. And I don't, Savasana. Some people may not know what that is. So
Yeah.
we get to the end
It's my
and
favorite
we
pose.
your favorite pose,
Yeah.
everybody's favorite pose. You're laying down on your back. You're in sleep position, but not sleep mode.
Yeah. But you don't get
So
to appreciate it unless you've put in the work, though. It's like, it's not my favorite pose if I
exactly.
haven't put in the work. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are. We're in the in that pose, and the instructor or that invited me, the teacher, she literally was in tears because she said, "This kid is never still." Like he
Mm,
literally, even in sitting down in his chair, he is just never still. And for him to lay here
wow.
for 5 minutes,
It's
it was
huge.
incredible.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that, even to this day, and that's been probably about 5 or 6 years ago when that incident happened. And it's still like gives me chills, just to know that, kids can be there. And with yoga, you can make it fun. Some people say, "Oh, it's boring. I can't do it." But for the kids, like it can be so much fun. And so that's one of the goals that I shoot for is to make it fun when I'm with the kids.
Wow.
But yeah, and so um, with there was a particular lady that she was doing it from the chair, and because she wasn't able to get on the floor.
Hmm.
And so she was able to experience through consistency, which that's so major with everything, right?
Yeah.
Just keep showing up, and then eventually she was able to make it to the floor. She still had to get up
It's
a
awesome.
couple of times to do certain things in the chair, but
Yeah.
she went from doing everything in the chair and being able to get to the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
incredible. There's such
yeah.
important work you're doing. These are some great questions coming in. Tatiana asks if you have a cold, if you're sick, should you still be exercising?
And everybody's good question, Tatiana. Everybody's body's different. So I would say, and I'm glad you asked because I wanted to say something too about this. It triggered something else.
Oh, good.
So everybody knows their body.
Hmm.
I think it would be good if you're going to work. I think yes,
Mm.
because then what's going to happen is that you can help move things around and get by sweating and even just stirring up some energy in you and get some of those things out of you.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
so
that
yeah,
makes
and
sense.
but if you're having a fever or whatever, then that would be no. But if it's just some aches and pains from a cold, um, and it also lends itself to um, causing you to be stronger, to push through opposition,
Yeah.
because there's always things in life that's going to say you can't, you shouldn't,
Hmm.
and just be that person that says yes, I can,
Yep.
and it makes you feel better that you push through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she mentioned medication. So sometimes people want to lose weight,
Hmm.
and it's really a big thing when you have synthetic medicine in your body.
Mm.
It takes a toll on your body, and it can cause your body to not perform in the way. And that's no judgment on anyone.
Yep.
It's just expectations of
Mm.
certain things happening. You have to consider it if all things are equal. Sometimes all things aren't equal. If you're filling yourself with synthetic medicines, certain things aren't going to happen
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it comes to weight loss.
that's a really good point, is really being aware of your own body, which can be hard to
Yeah,
get used to, kind of being aware of your own body. And also,
yeah,
yeah, understanding like all of the different expectations that you have, and how those play with
yeah.
the reality of the situation. Yeah,
Right.
that's super important. Oh, Carla, I think we lost you. Hmm. Well, I'm going to shoot over here. Hopefully, Carla will be able to call back in a bit. But well, I have everyone just a reminder again that we have Creator Camp coming up October 11th through 13th. And if you have not yet signed up, there's only a few spots left. And I really want to see you and hang out with you. So be sure to join us by signing up at ecamm.tv/creatorcamp. And if you're enjoying the Meet the Fam series, we are doing a really special behind the scenes with the Ecamm Fam episode on Friday with Kirk Nugent, who is just an absolutely incredible creator. He runs a number of different shows. He's an Amazon live streamer. And he just launched a new series that he's doing. And I just think it was a really good opportunity to be able to pick his brain a little bit about how he approaches setting up spaces and setting up shows and brands for multiple shows. So it's just going to be a really fun time, really casual as the show is and means to be. So certainly bring all of your questions for Kirk. We're going to pick his brain and be hanging out on location with him in a studio space. So we'll be able to answer questions. Funny, I wonder if Carla just, hang on, let me bounce back over here. Hello, everyone. Well, I see Carla is muted and she's got a black, oh, there she is. She's back. All right, hang on. Let's see. Let's scoot back over here.
Yeah, it does that. So what I've learned, Katie, and this is something Al and I have been working on, but so after I think 45 minutes, it seems like my camera is cut off.
You have like
I have to reboot it. So
yeah. You know what? There's a couple things, and this may not be the same thing that you're experiencing, but I've had a couple of times where either I didn't have my camera plugged in, so it ran out of battery and it turned off, or I've also had it as where it has a setting in it, depending on what camera you have. It has a setting in it where it automatically turns off after a certain period of time because it's trying to prevent overheating. So you can actually, you can actually turn that setting off, and for the most part, it's fine. So yeah, it might be a setting there, depending on what camera you have. But yeah. I've also done really embarrassing things like we need a whole, Tatiana had a great idea for an episode on like all of the weird like streamer mistakes that happen while you're live streaming. But one of my favorite ones was I now plug my cameras in. So the Sonys are great for that. You can literally just plug it into an outlet, so you don't have to be using battery power. But the cable, when I looked at it, I'm even looking at it now, looked like it was plugged in, like it was going down to the outlet. But one of my kids had unplugged it. So I was streaming away and my camera turned off and I was could not figure out what had happened. I panicked. I was not doing a great job troubleshooting live. Turns out that, the battery died. And which is why having a backup is always a good idea. Or, remaining calm, like what Carla is doing with her camera is not playing today. Not playing at all. All right, I'm going to go back over here. All right, so I'm going to double check the comments here one last time. I'm looking to the side. It looks like Paul's dropping in all of our amazing links. Tatiana says she wants to. Incorporating yoga into a public speaking or events. I can't speak highly enough about this. We've done this for the last 2 years now, I think, at the Leap into Live events, and it has been just life-changing. It's always my favorite sessions are just allowing people the opportunity, should they choose, to do some breathing, stretching, meditation in between events. I think it's just huge. And we plan to do the same thing in person at our Creator Camp event, because I just think it's so important and a great way to recenter. Oh, Carla, you were back and now you're gone again. Oh, goodness. It's going to be that kind of day. Well, we will wrap on that note. And huge thank you to Carla for taking the time to join today. Huge thank you to Al for being the behind the scenes and getting all of the tech stuff set up. And if you have been watching and you want to be on the show with me, or want to come back, you are more than welcome to. You can always email me at Katie, Katie, at ecamm.com. I'm also at marketing@ecamm.com, and I live in our community spaces, which are on Facebook and Discord. You are more than welcome to get in touch at any point. We'd love to have you on the show. I'm just scrolling through. People come and go so quickly. Here on the show. Well, thank you so much, Carla. I see you in the backstage. Thank you so much for hanging out today. And from all of us here at Ecamm to all of you in the Ecamm fam, thanks for being so incredible. And we hope that we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.